Okay, so hello everybody online. We're just waiting for the people in the room to come along. Just waiting for Pippa and the others, and then we'll be starting. Mute. That's a good idea.
Okay. Okay, well, very good morning to you, everybody, and thank you for coming along. Good morning to everybody who's at home. I don't know why I'm saying good morning to you. It's like we're in a different time zone or something. But lovely to see so many of you here in the room today, and lovely to have you all joining us this morning. My name's Pippa Waller, and I'm one of the careers advisors here at the university. And so we're just going to be, fortunately, you won't be hearing too much from me today. Just over the next sort of 40 minutes, we're just going to be looking at some of the possibilities that are open to you in the future if you decide to go down the road of computing and IT. And I'm delighted to be joined by Dominic, who's going to be talking to you about what he does, and also Rowan, who's joining us on Zoom today as well. So, and Rowan, I can just see you there. That's a fabulous background. So what we'll do is just a quick overview from me, a bit about the kinds of things that you, just an overview of some of the things that you can go into as a computing graduate. And like I've said, you'll be hearing from Dominic and you'll be hearing from Rowan, and there'll be time for questions. But do please feel free to ask any questions this morning. At any given point. Are you happy with that, Ron? Yeah. That's brilliant. And are you happy with that, Rowan? If people ask questions, that's great. And
yeah, sure thing.
Fantastic. And the sound works as well. That's really good. So, and we have, sorry, you did tell me your name. You're on the chat today.
Yes, my name is Jacob Westley. I'm a student ambassador for the. I'll just unmute myself.
Oh, that's maybe.
Okay.
Jacob Wesley, and you're a student ambassador for?
Yes, I'm on the final year of the Bachelor of Science BSc Honours degree in Computing and Software Development.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Jacob. So Jacob's going to be on the chat today, so please do feel free to pop in any questions into the chat box. Check that. Thank you. I should no longer be muted. So somebody's just reminded me that I'm muted. Okay. So let's have a look then, just quickly before we hear from Dom, what you could become if you decide to go down this road of embarking upon a degree in computing, computer science or IT. So some of the areas that you could move into, and an absolutely massive one at the moment, we cannot get enough of them, software development. So hi there, come on in. So as software developers, they're behind the different apps that you use, websites that you use, and they are the creative people. They come up with the ideas to meet different client requirements. We'll be hearing from people who tell you a bit more detail about that, and they will be coming up with the different ideas and solutions, and they'll be using their technical skills and their coding abilities and their understanding of different languages to bring these things to life. And like I say, there's we here at the university, we are constantly having employers coming to us saying, do you have any? Have you got any software developers? We really need them. So you can't say that for every course. And by a similar token, web developers, and web development is not to be confused with web design. Web development is much more, it's still a very creative process. You're still talking to people about what they need and what they want. But you will be doing the really important stuff, which is actually making it work. So that's where the real value comes in. And the websites are so important to every organization now. It's what people meet, it's what they encounter, and it needs, as well as looking good, it needs to work and it needs to be responsive to individuals' needs. So as computer scientists, you will have that knowledge and that creativity to make that happen. So this is another area that we see. And of course, games developers. Now, this is obviously a massive area and an area that people are really interested in. We're all doing it, aren't we? We're all gaming in some form or another. We're all doing it on our mobiles, or we're doing it much more seriously and spending all night doing it. So we're all involved. And of course, behind that, as well as the creativity, and we'll be hearing much more about that, there are also, again, the people who can make these ideas happen. bring those ideas to life. And games developers, as we'll see, they will, as well as working for the massive studios that you're probably familiar with, they also work in lots of really small studios right across the country and as well as around the world. And then we also have the people who oversee organisations' complete setup. So people who look at the whole networks of different computer systems and data flow and data management. And these are the systems network managers and the analysts who look at what's going on within an organisation system and look for improvements and look at what can be streamlined and keeping it up to date and keeping it safe. And then, in no particular order, we also have the quality testers. And this is one that I'm often asked about as a careers advisor in the domain of games. So, so quality testers, if you're going to produce software, if you're going to produce apps, it has to work. And we all know how frustrated we get. So quality testers are there to look at things like the code, look for any errors or mistakes. They're probably best known, or what typically when we speak to students, they say, I want to be a quality tester because I like the idea of playing games all day and working out what's wrong with it. That's one side, but it's also looking at what's going on behind the scenes to ensure that it works and works smoothly. And then you also have the other side of things, which is about the data that's flowing within an organisation itself. So you're perhaps, you might be sort of overlapping with people like data scientists in this area. So if you're less about the actual hardware or the software, there's also the actual data itself and keeping it secure, but also being able to analyse it. So if you're looking at doing something like computer science, this will set you up really well for a career in this area, which is another massive one, where again, we have employers queuing up for people who can manage data, handle data, and process it. Another big one, as I'm sure we're all really familiar with now, is about security and keeping all of our information. We're all using things, we're all putting information about ourselves on apps. We've all been using things like the NHS apps and so on over the last couple of years. And the majority of us are using internet banking and so on. And so are companies. So it's a massive, potentially there's a huge vulnerability there for countries, for individuals and for organisations. So security and making sure that organisations' data is secure, people's information is secure, people can't have they can't have their identity stolen. Cybersecurity is another massive and growing area. And cybersecurity analysts will do things like they'll look at an organisation and look at how to keep, look at measures to keep that data safe, or they can work out for consultancies and actually conduct what we call ethical hacking or penetration testing to test an organisation's security. So it's really, really interesting work and obviously massive, a massive area. And of course, we have all forms of different analysts and troubleshooters. So the people who have to deal with idiots like me who say it doesn't work, try switching it off and switching on again. You've got people dealing with things like that, but also looking at the day-to-day running and any troubleshooting for an organisation. So I'll speed along a bit so you can hear from the interesting people. So other areas are support. And you can also, there are the career opportunities are huge. You can go into management. You might decide to use your knowledge to move into sales. You might decide to go into consultancy and give different companies your expertise. You might decide to go into education, to teach, to train, to lecture, and you could go into research if you wanted to. So let's just take a look at some of the employers. So whilst you might expect that you will, that people can go, people might work for organisations in Google, they're the ones that spring to mind. There are these massive global organisations that you can work for, but actually, and in the tech sector, but actually it's massive. You can go into these huge organisations in the corporate sector. Amazon are always getting in touch, but also you could go into areas like retail. So retail is absolutely dependent on good computer scientists to help them manage their online platforms and with stock control and so on. And so there's places like Amazon, John Lewis, Tesco, all of those big brands they all employ large numbers of people with the skills that you have. And of course, there are some of the big game studios, but as we will hear, there are lots of little ones as well with really interesting opportunities. And you can also move into finance if you want to. Every kind of organisation you could conceive of needs people like you. So there's lots of really exciting opportunities available. So why might you want to do it? Have an impact every day on individuals, on companies, on organisations, on the world. You really do have an impact. Very rarely, I think it'd be fair to say no 2 days are the same.
Definitely not.
Yeah. Lots of variety, lots of different challenges. And of course, you're in a sector that moves so fast. So you're at the cutting edge of development. Challenge. So if you're somebody who likes to be given problems to sort out, or get your teeth into things, there's loads of challenges. It's creative. People often make the mistake of thinking that STEM subjects, so science, technology, engineering, maths, computing, they don't tend to think of it as creative. It's incredibly creative in terms of you're coming up with solutions to really interesting problems for people. It's really well paid. My sister is 48, which is, no, she's not, she's actually 53, what am I talking about? But she retired at 48. I know that's really ancient, that's really old, but it's much younger than a lot of people. So there's a huge amount of money to be earned if that's important to you. If you want really nice things, you want lots of holidays, you want cars or whatever. There's the opportunity to travel. Some of the companies we looked at are global. So you could go anywhere in the world and you can do good things. You can make a difference to different companies and organizations and countries. It's flexible. This is one thing that computing and IT didn't just survive during COVID, it thrived and it grew. So you've got a lot of flexibility. You can work at home if you want, still have to speak to people. But you can work at home, you can work in an office with loads of people, and often there's the opportunity, employers can be very flexible. And like I said, we have a massively expanding job market day by day. So I'm going to hand you over now to the expert. So Dom, you've been very patient, and I will. You don't have any slides or anything, do you?
I don't have anything. No. I can show the game page if you want it.
That would be great. So what would you?
Probably.
Yeah, okay. I don't know why I'm trying to point them out. You're much better at this than I am.
So, hi, my name's Dom Slighton. Currently, I'm working on this game for Illyriad Games. I started here about June, straight after university. And when I came to university, I did computing and game development. So basically, the reason why I chose game development was just because I thought it'd be fun. Why not? Like, I didn't think it was going to involve a lot of coding, a lot of everything like that. I just wanted to make games. So that's what I decided to do. I came to college doing computer science level 3, thinking, oh, I'll just make 1 or 2 things and then just go off and do an apprenticeship. Then actually coming to the open day, I was like, oh, actually, game development actually sounds quite interesting. And I thought all the career options they offered, like flexibility, everything like that, pay as well, pay is quite good to be fair. And then I decided to take this on. So I just thought, like, why not? Like, basically is what they've said. Everything there, like variety, flexibility, like being able to do it from home. Like I completed a year and a half of my studies in my bedroom in pajamas, easy enough. Like obviously, I won't say in front of teachers that I came presentable, but I was actually in my pajamas, half asleep, completing my final year of uni, but I still did it. But yeah, no, like the career option for computing is such like a huge area. Like even just going on LinkedIn, you can type in computing and there's about 1,200 jobs literally opening on that day. Endless amount of opportunities for you to choose from, and just all round just a great experience. Like every day is different. Like yesterday I was there working on something and I was like, oh, this is going to be fine at about 9 o'clock. About 4 o'clock I was still on the same thing, like why is it not working? But later on it got to work in the end, and but that's why I love my job. Like it's something different every day. It's different. You're working on something different, and then being able to show people it, and then seeing people's reactions, playing your game, uncovering bugs what you didn't realize until at a later date. That's a bit scary. But yeah, no, I would happily like say my experience at Plymouth Uni for this, like to get this job was incredible. Like even just learning the basics of trying to be an adult, being able to cook, like that's a thing what you actually learn at uni. You'd be quite surprised. Like with cooking skills. But no, like I would basically say like computing is like a great field to go into, because with the course I did, it was obviously focused on game development, but it has so many other options to choose from, just like software engineering, mobile development, e-commerce. Like, there's a lot of opportunities. So, like, for example, if you did computer software and went, actually, I want to specialize in this field or this field, you actually learn endless amounts. So, like, my course was mainly just Unity and developing games and learn about the core focuses of that. But then I can also go in and do like a junior role like mobile development or web development or databases or anything like that. But yeah, like I would say that it's a great career option. And obviously, as what Pippa said, with the different variety and different companies you can go for. I started in a small company because obviously, just as I was leaving uni, I was manically trying to find jobs, and started off in the Lyriad, that's a small startup. But obviously, the amount of jobs you can go for, like Rockstar, EA, Infinity Ward, like all of those opportunities, like it's endless. You could basically, at the moment, I work remotely. You can work in places like London, Sheffield, or even abroad, like America. Like I know 1 or 2 games jobs were basically ask you to travel the world and go to companies and just showcase like prototypes to see what people think. So even there, you're traveling the world like every single day. You're not staying in one area. So yeah, that's.
So that's brilliant. Thank you, Dom. So you said that you work for a small startup at the moment.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So basically, it's about 4 or 5 people working in there. They've released the game before, but they're not like huge, like Infinity Ward and Rockstar and everything like that. And basically, it's more about the funding and trying to get funding in. So, for example, we're releasing this game in May, and when we've released it, then we'll go to investors, showcase it, and go, "This is what we've got. This is our plans for the future." They'll go if they want to invest or not. So startups are quite frequent in like computing. So for example, you see so many startups, so many people want to go, oh, I want to make this app, or I want to make this. They have an idea, they start up, build this little company, and then it goes from there. Like every company I've seen in computing always start up with something small like this, then work their way up.
That's brilliant. Thank you. And did you get any particular? Did you get involved with any particular experiences while you were at university?
Yeah, so I did a professional mentoring program, what was really helpful. So I did that in my 2nd year. So that was basically you get someone from the industry come in who's similar to what you're wanting to do, and they basically help you with your CV. They give you like day-to-day life. They talk to you about what like you're going to be doing, kind of give you a heads up before you actually start applying. And that was like quite good for me because like I started off in like uni, like, oh, I just want to go out and party and just do my coursework and the night before. But then that mentoring program was basically like, this is what you're going to be doing. This is how it is. And that basically gave me like the jump up to be like, right, let's focus and everything. But even just learning like day-to-day life of, oh, you get a coffee at this time, or you can work at home 3 days a week. That was like just learning that was just great.
Brilliant. And before you came to university, were you doing then? What did you study?
So at college, I was doing computer science level 3. So I just thought at the time, I was like, oh, I'm just going to do that, get an apprenticeship and just at home really, nothing like special. But then I thought I'll come to the open day, why not, see what it's like. Walk around Babbage building, obviously that's closed now, breaks my heart. But
It'll be back.
We've got better labs.
I know, but it's just Babbage.
It's classic, yeah.
But like just walk around there, I went into the computer room and they had all these games and it was like, oh look, all the games you can make. And they're like, yeah, this is first year students. I was like, what? So I got quite interested in that, and that helped me to go, right, I want to take a career in game development. But then they also explained to my parents who were there thinking, oh, games is not a good career. Like, oh, actually, like you learn so much, and actually just like being in the first year, like you actually learn plenty, not just from games, just from coding, life, and everything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Dom at the moment? No, it's at that time. Any questions? No. That's absolutely excellent, Dom. But are you able to wait for just a Q&A at the end?
Yeah, no, I can do that.
That would be lovely. Thank you. Okay, so thanks very much for that, and really interesting insight into the life of games developer at the moment. And now we're going to move across to Rowan, who is waiting patiently there on Zoom. Are you able to? I'm just trying to think. Sorry. Yeah. So Rowan, shall we just hand over to you now? And are you ready to talk about your world?
Yeah, sure. I could share my screen and show some stuff. It might make more sense if I describe it.
That would be perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, just a moment. And sorry for the microphone quality. My laptop insists on using its built-in microphone and not this one for some reason. So let me deal with that. Let's have a look. Oh, now the thing's in the wrong place. Right. Yeah. I work for a company called Boomi. They're headquartered in the USA in Pennsylvania, but they have branches all around the world, including Exeter, where I work, though I'm fully remote right now. They make a variety of different products, mainly to do with data integration and data management. So that's essentially bringing together data in different data sources. So you might have your database for your company, and then you've got a cloud platform where you've got lots of data, and you want to bring it together into these different potentially incompatible systems together into a single interface where you can get useful data out of. That's their main sort of bread and butter. It's called, the term is integration platform as a service. It's a pretty big mouthful, or IPaaS as you might hear it termed. What I work on one of their products called Flow, which is it says on the screen here, low code workflow automation. It's a web-based, so you use it in a web browser, platform for making applications that take user input, do something with it, process it, pull in data from elsewhere, sort of populate things with it. I'm not sure, I might be able to show, it might make more sense if I show you a short video of what it looks like. This is I don't know if you see my screen, this is a slightly old video, but it might give you an idea. I'll mute Andy here. Skip forward a bit. So you have this sort of canvas system with nodes that you can link together. So on screen right now is that you start node, and then you can display a page, and then another place where you can get some user input. And so you publish it and run it, and you get a page like this. This is a very basic looking one, and you could enter data in here, and it outputs at the end. And this is a very basic example of what you can do with it. You can string together and have it communicate with different web services and APIs to pull in information. and produce much better looking pages than this, fortunately. One example I can tell you we use it for internally is for holiday booking. So we have a app made using Flow that we use to book our holiday. And then it shows you a page where sort of like this, where you can look at who's on holiday and you can fill in when you want holiday for and so on. Yeah, that's essentially the product. What I'm a developer on it, or a programmer. So I add new features to it. I fix bugs, just sort of work, and I work up and down the different elements of it. In the beginning, Pippa mentioned software developer and then web developer. I'm probably what's called a full stack web developer. So I work on the back end of Flow, which runs on its servers, and I also work on the front end, which is what you see in the beginning here of this video, which is actually what is in your web browser. And these are two different pieces of technology. It was written with different languages, and they work quite differently, but I work on all of them. And I also do the visual style to make it look pretty and have nice colors and stuff. So it's the full run. It runs the gamut, the work I do. Yeah, but essentially my day-to-day work is I come in the morning. We have a meet. I work remotely at the moment, so everything's online via Google Meet. So we have a Google meeting in the morning. And we talk about what everyone's working on. And everyone gives a short report, and then we just go over anything that needs to be discussed. And then I'll look at my list of tasks I have for the day and sort of just start working. You know, it depends. What the kind of work depends on the task, because the task might be to do with the front end. So it might be adding, for example, this screen here, the Flow library. It might be changing the way this looks, to add a new button in the corner, or changing how the library cards look. Or it might be on the back end, which is something you can't see. It's the thing that the front end interacts with, that provides all the functionality, like interacting with the database and stuff like that. Yeah, stop me if I'm going too technical.
Great. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. Carry on.
Yeah, so it depends on the work. If it's quite different depending on which part I'm working on. I'm not sure how much the audience knows about different programming technologies and software. For the front end here is written in JavaScript, which is something you might have used. It's the main programming language for websites, and the back end is written in C#, which anyone who's used Unity, such as Dom just mentioned, might be familiar with. That's kind of how I got it in here, because I applied for a sort of C# developer role. Yeah. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. Is there anything?
So that's absolutely fantastic, Ray. Thank you. So I was just going to ask you some of the questions. I don't know where I'm looking here. There's a camera.
Oh, yeah, so I can stop sharing. I could stop sharing now. There's nothing.
Oh, it's not you. It's just I'm not sure what I'm looking at. So it's really interesting. So in terms of when you were looking for work, was it difficult to find job roles when you graduated?
I'm afraid I have a kind of uncommon and probably rather unrealistic scenario. I didn't actually have to search for this role. One of my tutors, one of the people working at Boomi was an acquaintance of one of my tutors on my course I did at Plymouth. I did this, and he reached out to my tutor, and my tutor knew I was looking for work, and so he put me in touch, and I got a referral that way, which kind of put me ahead in the application priority. And I got in that way, and I did a few interviews, and unfortunately I got the job, so I didn't actually have to search for it at all.
That's fantastic. So actually, that isn't that unusual, and it is probably the most, knowing people is probably one of the most powerful things you can do when you're at college or when you're at university. So tell us, Rowan, which course did you do at university?
My course. I actually did compute from 2018 to 2021. I was studying computing and games development here at Plymouth, just like Dom. I was actually studied alongside him. Yeah, that I came on here in kind of interested in games development, and that was my main focus for a while. I wanted to be a games developer because I grew up playing games. I liked talking about games, and it was what interested me. And so then between 2019 and 2020, I managed to get a work placement, which was offered as part of the course. And that was a 12-month period working at a software company to gain experience, real-world software development experience. I did my placement at a company in Plymouth, on the outskirts of Plymouth, called Goss Interactive. They are a web development company that make websites for various local councils, local authorities, and some private companies. If you ever use the Gateshead Council website, you may have seen some of their work, or the South Hams Council website. And that was honestly a life-changing experience, because it opened my eyes to the breadth of what software development can be. I had a very narrow view of it, and I said, I want to make games. I don't really care about anything else except games development. But I could see the technologies I had been using, C#, the .NET framework, the stuff that underpins Unity for making games. I see it being used differently, and I see it interacting with different software. I was introduced to JavaScript and front-end development in a much more in-depth way than I had known about before. And that really changed doing that for a year really changed my perspective, and what massively contributed to me deciding to take the role I have currently at Boomi, because I found that I actually just enjoyed general software development.
That's that's really interesting, Ro. Thank you, because and I think we do see quite a lot of that as people join. I want to be a games developer, I want to work in games, but actually the things that you learn are actually really useful in lots of different areas. And Rowan discovered this if you come to university, you can do a year between your second and last year where you can go on a work placement, and you get paid very well, and it just gives you that chance to see what you like and sort of try before you buy. So that's really really helpful, Rowan. Thank you. So can I ask you the same question that I asked Dom? What did you do prior to coming to university? Did you do sort of Dom did the level 3? Did you do A levels or BTEC or?
I did a level 3 BTEC in computing, in software development at South Devon College, if I remember correctly. And then I went on to the university centre there to do a foundation degree in games and interactive design, so it's I kind of flip-flop back and forth. I did BTEC in software development, which was very kind of general software focus, and I felt this isn't close enough to games. I wanted to make games, so I went and did the games and interactive design. But that kind of skewed kind of too far the other way, away from software, and I felt I wasn't doing enough software. And then instead, for my the foundation degree, you're supposed to do a year 2 years there, and then do a final year at another institution, because the university that didn't have degree awarding powers when I went. But I was extremely fortunate for my final year. Instead of just doing a single year, I managed to get to join in on the beginning of the second year of computing and games development, and that set me on the path I had then. And then I got a placement, and here I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and actually what you're describing, Rowan, is quite normal. People change and people's interests change, and it's okay. You can do that. Go and try something else. Come back and try something, or come back and do what your original plans were. So Can I just ask you, both of you, Dom and Rowan, if thinking, so we're in the room today, we have people at different stages of their journey in education. So some of you all doing GCSEs at Bubbling? Yeah, you're at GCSE point at the moment. And online we have people at sixth form kind of stage. Yeah. Could I ask you if you could go back in time to yourself when you were doing GCSEs, or sort of like between the time when you were 16 or 18, what piece of advice would you give yourself? So we start with you, Dom.
I would have to say, if you want to go to university, or even have like a slight thing of, oh, shall I see what it's like go to the open day, go to the open days as soon as possible. So I went to the Plymouth Uni open day in my final year of college and was like, oh, I want to go to uni. So I spent that year basically making sure, like, retaking assignments and trying to get the best grades possible. But like, yeah, I'll probably say go to the open days and try them out as early as you can. Like, even just like going in for like an hour or a half hour, just having a look around, just going, if it's a nice building or if it's a nice course, whatever. Just having that like idea set. Like, I had the idea quite late on in like my college career, so it's a bit like, oh, I need to get the grades, I need to retake stuff and everything like that. So it wasn't really a good few weeks when I was finishing college just to try and get onto the course, but I would have to say, yeah, like, come to the open days as soon as you can, because they're like great and you get free drinks.
Yeah, you get free food, don't you?
Pasties.
Pasties, yes. Winning. Yeah. We like them. Yeah, so don't feel it's ever too early to go to an open day, or that it's not for you. It's here for everybody of all ages, of you to come in, have a look around. Now, for those of you who are here, you've already been here, so you come back and have another look. So thank you, Dom. Is there any piece of advice you would give your younger self now, with what you know now, Rowan?
First of all, just to echo Dom's point, yes, absolutely go to open days. Something I left out my background. One of the reasons I was able to get on computer and games development is because my mum strongly encouraged me to go to the open day at University of Plymouth and speak to someone, and she actually, I was very embarrassed and kind of shy. So she actually went and spoke to the tutors there for me. She spoke to Paul and Marius, who were some of the tutors there. They were very reassuring, and they said that yes, you can come here, you could do your fight, oh yeah, yes, do apply, yes, do ask questions. Like, that was a game-changing moment there. And if my mum hadn't done that for me, I don't know where I would be right now. But absolutely, yes, do go to open days, do ask questions. And there's nothing wrong with doing that, and they're there to help you. And something I would add: don't confine yourself to a narrow box in terms of what you want to do. If there's something you think you're very interested in my case, it was games development. First of all, do explore the thing you think you're really interested in. Actually do it, and do it intensively for a while, or on your own steam, not someone making you do it, and see if it is actually what really interests you and what you really want. And maybe maybe branch out from it, try adjacent things, see if you like an idea generally, or is it just something specific. Branch out, speak to your tutors, look at stuff online, look at tutorials for related things. Don't limit yourself, and explore your interests. That's what I would tell. That's what I encourage myself to do. I encourage everyone here to do as well.
Yes, thank you. And I think that's a really good point, is to try stuff and keep an open mind. Have a go at things. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how we really learn and develop, and that's where exciting things happen. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. And if you're nervous about coming to an open day, I mean, you've been here now, And so Rowan said his mum there helped him, and which we all get nervous. Get somebody, if you're worried about it, get somebody to come with you. You've got some great tutors around who will support you, or get somebody who's on your side. Okay, so just before I finish up, is there anything else that Rowan and Dom that you wanted to add?
Nothing from me. I probably would say, like what Rowan said, with like the opportunities what it opens up, and like don't just look into game development. I now came into this company as a game developer, but now I handle this social media and all of that, and also the handling of tasks. So I've branched in from going from a game developer to now being a community manager / like a project management role. So even outside of university and just being in the actual job role, you branch off and learn so many different things other than your main job itself.
Brilliant, thank you. I do have one last question. What's the best bit about university?
That they can share.
Yeah, yeah, this side of the law.
Yeah, I'll try and sound like, I would probably just say just the experience of like living away from home. Like when I first came to uni, I went into student accommodation, and I was with people who did biomedical science, law, primary school teaching, Navy, and they weren't just all computer nerds who just sat in a dark room playing games all the time. So it's just like the people you meet and like the experiences you have. Like obviously you come to uni to do the actual degree, but it's just meeting so many new people, and like all from different backgrounds. Some people like all the way up north, and some people just down the road and don't want to live with their parents anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say for me it was probably just the experience of getting away and like going from just a kid who went to secondary school and college to actually becoming an adult and leaving, not just with a degree, but actually being able to live by myself in the outside world.
Thank you. And Rowan, what's the best bit for you, do you think?
I'd actually, I for me personally, what I got the most out of was the process, and that by that I mean, in a lesson, the tutor introduces something, we talk about it, and then to understand that you have a relatively long back and forth with them. This could be during the lesson with questions, afterwards via email, talking about the assignments. That's probably the biggest impact on me. Trying to improve my understanding of something that was brought up, and that ongoing communication with someone who does understand it, to develop your understanding of it, and combining that with your own research and so on, and feeling that growth and progression. I found that very satisfying when it worked out. A lot of times it was excruciatingly slow, but that's okay. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong. Sometimes it just takes a long time to get it, and but eventually something will happen and it will just go click.
Yes.
And that's something I felt I very much enjoyed. At the end, I enjoyed it. Well, maybe not while it was happening, but respectively. And just one final piece of advice: ask questions. If you have something you don't understand about anything you've been taught, or anything the teacher has said or tutor has said, anything, email them, message them, whatever it is, ask them. They're there to help, and they will provide answers to you. I probably would have a lot of it came down for my work is last minute conversations with the tutor to flesh out my understanding of something, or to make sure I included something in the assignment. Do ask questions. It is almost never too late, basically, to ask questions, even if it's the day before. I've had my tutors went above and beyond, sometimes just wanting to meet minutes before the deadline with information, and that do ask for help, and do get help. It's not a sign of weakness or anything. it's actually probably a sign of strength that you recognise that you need some additional information. So do ask for help.
Thank you, Rowan. And I think that's good advice to us all, really, isn't it? Needing help isn't a weakness. Always ask for help. And even when you get to the university stage, it's still okay. You ask for help, and that's what we're here for. Thank you so much to Rowan and Dom. I'll just quickly show you a webpage that you can follow up with in your own time if you want to find out a little bit more about what a degree in computing and computer science can offer you. So let me just quickly go. A proper person would have done this bit beforehand.
Can you reshare your screen,
Reshare my screen.
please?
Yes. Lovely. Okay. So this site, you just go to plymouth.ac.uk/careers, and it's there for everybody to use. And we have a section here which you might find handy. It's not just about Plymouth, but it's where could your degree take you, and it does just show you what some of our computing students have gone on to do. So what can you do with your computing degree, and it tells you about the skills that you develop. So you can see 94% of our students who in work or in further study, they do really well. And this just gives you some idea of the jobs that you can do, more information, and actually what people are doing now. So you can see the huge long list of lots of different roles. So that's just something for you to explore in your own time. But thank you, big thank you to our guest speakers today, Dominic and to Rowan, and some really excellent advice, really good information. Thank you for your time today. You're all in the middle of a working day. Thank you all for coming along this morning, for those of you at home. And so I'm going to wrap it up there unless anybody has any burning questions. So Bodmin, I'll see you at the end. It's not like that. Well, if you want to hold on, and I'll just sort out check out what your arrangements are next. But thank you very much for your time this morning, everybody. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you, Dom. Thank you, Rowan. I don't know where I'm waving. Wherever you are, thank you.
The opportunity. It's fun.
Oh, it's really kind of you. I'll just quickly see what Bodmin's plans are, and
yeah, because I was just going to check.
Yes.
I think that's it. I just need one meeting to see if they're trying to leave. They just come over from a different part of the university.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I will be a moment, Dom.
But Jacob's been so
Thank you all for coming in. You've been absolutely magnificent today. I hope you had a really good morning, especially over the side of that. And what's your plan now?
I'll try my best. Eating something.
Eating
So
something.
That needs to go that way. I just need to sort out this bit.
So it's actually fairly straightforward.
Okay, so thank you everybody. I'm going to
Starting to say,
leave the call now. Thank you.